The rain fell hard on New Seoul that evening, making the city lights blur into streaks of color against the dark sky. Stood by his apartment window, watching the traffic pass far below. His small apartment was quiet and cold, just the way he liked it these days. No noise, no people, no complications. Just him and the cargo routes he flew 6 days a week. His life was simple now. Wake up, fly shipments to the outer stations, come home, sleep. He didn't talk much to his neighbors. He didn't visit old friends. 5 years ago, he had left everything behind, including the person he loved most. That was the choice he made, and he told himself every day it was the right one. The door chimed. Frowned, nobody visited him, not anymore. He walked to the door and checked the screen. His heart stopped. She stood there in the hallway, wearing a simple gray coat that covered most of her body. But nothing could hide that blue skin, those silver eyes, or the way she held herself like she owned the universe. Princess Lyra of the Empire, the woman he had abandoned without explanation, the woman he thought he would never see again. His hand shook as he reached for the door control. For a moment, he considered not opening it. He could pretend he wasn't home, but she had traveled across 3 galaxies to find him. She deserved better than a closed door. The door slid open. They stared at each other. Time seemed to freeze. She looked exactly the same, except her eyes were harder now, colder. She had always been beautiful, but now there was something sharp in her expression that hadn't been there before. "Hello," she said. Her voice was steady, but he could hear the anger underneath. "Lyra, I don't understand. How did you find me?" She stepped forward. He moved back without thinking. She walked into his apartment and the door closed behind her. She looked around at his bare walls, his empty kitchen, his single chair facing the window. "It took me 2 years," she said. 2 years of searching every human colony, every station, every transport record. You covered your tracks well, but I am a princess I have resources." His throat felt tight. "You shouldn't have come here." "Shouldn't have come?" Lyra's voice rose. "You disappear without a word. No message, no explanation. You just vanish like I meant nothing to you. And you think I shouldn't come looking for answers." "Lyra, please." "No," she moved closer to him. "You don't get to run away again. I traveled across the stars to find you. I left my duties, everything, to get answers. You owe me that much." He wanted to look away, but her silver eyes held him frozen. Those eyes had looked at him with such warmth once, with love. Now they burned with hurt and fury. "Why did you leave me?" she asked. The question came out quiet, almost broken. "What did I do wrong?" "You didn't do anything wrong," said quickly. "It wasn't about you." "Then what was it about? We had plans, we talked about our future. You told me you loved me under the twin moons. You held me after every battle and promised me tomorrow would come. And then one day, you were just gone." He turned away from her, walking to the window. The rain was getting worse. "I had my reasons." "What reasons? Tell me." "I can't." "Can't or won't?" Lyra grabbed his arm and forced him to face her. Her strength surprised him, but he should have remembered. They were physically stronger than humans. "I deserve to know the truth. After everything we went through together, after all the battles we survived, after all the promises we made, I deserve to know why you threw it all away." Pulled his arm free. "You should go back to, forget about me, move on with your life." "Move on?" Lyra laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Do you think I haven't tried? Do you think I haven't spent 5 years trying to forget you? Every day I wake up and remember that you chose to leave, that the man I loved decided I wasn't worth staying for." "That's not true." "Then prove it, tell me why." He couldn't tell her. If he told her the truth, it would hurt her even more. He had left to protect her, to save her from a terrible choice. If she knew that, she would be angry at him for deciding her future without her. Either way, he would hurt her. Better to let her think he was just a coward who ran away. "I don't have to explain myself to you," he said, keeping his voice cold. "We were together during the war. The war ended, people move on, that's all there is to it. Lyra stepped back like he had hit her. You're lying. Believe what you want. I don't believe you, she said firmly. I know you. I know your tells, your expressions, the way you sound when you're not being honest. You're hiding something. He said nothing. If he spoke, his voice would break. Lyra pulled off her coat and dropped it on his chair. Fine. If you won't tell me, I'll stay here until you do. What? You heard me. I'm not leaving until you tell me the truth. I crossed 3 galaxies to find you. I can wait as long as it takes. Lyra, you can't just. Watch me. She walked to his small couch and sat down, crossing her arms. I am Princess Lyra of House, commander of the 7th Fleet, and I am not going anywhere until you tell me why you left. Stared at her, she meant it. He could see the determination in every line of her body. This was the woman who had led armies, who had refused to retreat even when defeat seemed certain, who had her own people's expectations to fight on the front lines. She wouldn't give up now. This is crazy, he said. You made it crazy when you disappeared. He ran his hand through his hair, feeling trapped. You can't stay here. People will ask questions. The media will find out that alien royalty is on Earth. It will cause problems. Let them ask questions. I don't care. Lyra. I mean it. I'm not leaving without answers. Her voice softened just slightly. I need to know. Even if you stopped loving me, even if you found someone else, I need to hear you say it. I need to understand what happened to us. He looked at her sitting on his couch, her blue skin almost glowing in the dim light of his apartment, her silver hair falling over her shoulders. She was so beautiful it hurt to look at her, and he had hurt her so badly. I never stopped loving you, he whispered before he could stop himself. Her eyes widened. Then why? He turned away again. Please don't make this harder than it already is. Harder? You broke my heart. You shattered it into pieces and left me alone. How could it possibly be harder? He couldn't answer. He couldn't tell her that every day without her had been torture, that he thought about her constantly, that leaving her was the hardest thing he ever did, that he did it because he loved her too much to let her destroy her future for him. The silence stretched between them like a wall. Finally, Lyra spoke. I'm not leaving. I'll sleep on this couch if I have to. I'll follow you to work. I'll stay right beside you until you tell me everything. I've waited 5 years for answers. I can wait longer. Looked out at the rain and knew his quiet, empty life was over. She was here, and everything he had tried to bury was coming back. He had thought running away would save them both. But Lyra had never been the kind of person who let things go. She was a fighter. She always had been. And now she was fighting for the truth. Lyra did exactly what she promised. She slept on his couch that night, and when he woke up the next morning, she was sitting at his small table drinking water and waiting for him. He tried to leave for work without talking to her, but she followed him right out the door. What are you doing? He asked as they walked to the transit station. Going with you, she said simply. You can't just follow me around. Watch me. At the cargo depot, his supervisor stared at Lyra with wide eyes. Is that a? She's visiting, said quickly. She'll be gone soon. Lyra smiled sweetly at the supervisor. Actually, I'm staying as long as needed. All day she sat in the cargo bay while he worked. She didn't complain or ask for anything. She just watched him with those silver eyes, waiting. It made him nervous and uncomfortable, which was probably her plan. That night back at his apartment, the memories started coming. He couldn't stop them anymore. Having Lyra so close brought everything back like a flood. He remembered the first time he saw her. It was 5 years ago, during the worst war humanity had ever known. The swarm was destroying everything in its path, eating entire planets and leaving nothing behind. Humanity was new to space, barely 50 years off their own world, and suddenly they were facing extinction. The Empire offered an alliance. They needed humanity's numbers and fresh tactics. Humans needed the advanced technology and experience. It was an uneasy partnership at first. Many looked down on humans as primitive newcomers. Many humans resented taking orders from aliens who saw them as inferior. Was assigned to the royal fleet as a tactical officer. It was supposed to be an honor. Instead, he felt like a token human, there to make the alliance look good. Then he met Princess Lyra. She commanded the 3rd Battalion, leading from the front despite her royal status. The first time they met, she looked at him like he was a child playing soldier. He was 26, already a veteran of 3 major battles. But to her, humans were bobbies in the galaxy. "So you're the human tactical officer," she had said, her tone making it clear what she thought of that. "And you're the princess playing war," he had replied before he could stop himself. Her eyes had gone cold. "I've been fighting for 2 years. How many battles have you survived, human?" Enough to know that rank doesn't mean skill. It had been a terrible start. She barely spoke to him for weeks. He thought she was arrogant and spoiled. She thought he was disrespectful and foolish. Their commanding officers forced them to work together anyway. Then came the ambush at the sector. Lyra's ship was hit during a surprise attack. Half her crew died in the first wave. The ship was breaking apart, systems failing everywhere. She ordered the survivors to evacuate while she stayed behind to manually override the reactor and buy them time. Was on a nearby vessel. When he heard what she was doing, something in him refused to accept it. He took a damaged shuttle, the only ship small enough to dock with her dying vessel, and flew straight into the battle. His commanding officer ordered him to stop. He ignored the order. They were everywhere. The shuttle had barely any shields. He flew through weapons fire that should have killed him 3 times over, dodging and weaving through the chaos like his instructors said was impossible. Humans had one advantage in space combat. They were absolutely crazy. They tried things no sane species would attempt because they were too new to know it was supposed to be impossible. He docked with Lyra's ship with seconds to spare. She was shocked to see him. "What are you doing here? I ordered everyone to evacuate." "You're not everyone," he said, grabbing her arm. "And I don't take orders from people who want to die for no reason. Come on." "The reactor is already overloading. We have 90 seconds, move." They ran. The ship was falling apart around them. They made it to the shuttle with 20 seconds left, flew them out just as the ship exploded behind them. Then he had to get them through the fleet, through an asteroid field, and back to their own lines with a damaged shuttle that was barely holding together. He did it. Somehow, impossibly, he did it. Lyra stared at him when they finally reached safety. "That was the most reckless, stupid, insane flying I've ever seen." "You're welcome," he said, hands shaking from adrenaline. "You could have died." "So could you." "I'm a princess. I have responsibilities. You're just a—" She stopped herself. "Just a human," he finished. She looked away. "I was going to say just a tactical officer. You shouldn't have risked your life for me." "Maybe I don't think your life is worth less than mine, just because I'm human." Something changed between them after that. Lyra started actually listening to his tactical suggestions. He stopped seeing her as just a spoiled royal. They worked together more smoothly, their different perspectives combining into something better than either could do alone. They were stronger and had better technology, but humans brought something else to the war. They brought creativity and stubbornness and a complete refusal to accept defeat. They looked at impossible situations and said, "Let's try anyway." It frustrated the who were used to species that followed logical patterns. And Lyra became an effective team. She learned to trust his instincts when he suggested crazy plans that shouldn't work but somehow did. He learned to appreciate her strategic mind and the way she could keep troops calm during the worst battles. Months passed, the war continued. They survived battle after battle together, and slowly, without either of them planning it, they fell in love. He remembered the night it happened. They had just won a major victory, pushing the out of the system. Everyone was celebrating. He found Lyra standing alone on an observation deck, looking out at its twin moons. "You're not celebrating," he said, joining her. "I'm thinking about everyone we lost," she said quietly. 80 ships destroyed, thousands dead. We won, but the price was so high. "That's what leadership feels like," he said. "You carry the weight of every decision." "Does it ever get easier?" "No, but you learn to carry it better." They stood in silence for a while. Then Lyra said, "Thank you for saving my life. I never properly thanked you." "You've saved mine a few times too. We're even." "No, I mean, thank you for treating me like a person instead of just a princess. Most people see my title before they see me. You've only ever seen me." He looked at her, really looked at her, not as an alien or a princess or a commanding officer, just as Lyra, a woman who was strong and brave and carried too much responsibility on her shoulders, a woman who fought harder than anyone else because she felt she had to prove herself worthy of her position. "I see you," he said softly. She met his eyes. "I see you too." He didn't remember which of them moved first, but suddenly they were kissing under the light of the twin moons, and everything else disappeared. The war, their differences, the fact that she was royalty and he was just a human pilot, none of it mattered. Only this moment mattered. They kept it secret at first. The alliance was fragile enough without the complication of a human and a princess being together. But as the months passed, they stopped being careful. Other soldiers saw them together. Rumors spread. Some people disapproved. Most didn't care. The war made everything else seem less important. Remembered lazy mornings in her quarters between battles. Deep conversations about their different worlds and cultures. The way she laughed at his terrible jokes. How she would rest her head on his shoulder when she was tired. The plans they made for after the war ended. "I want to show you," she had said. "The crystal forests, the singing oceans, the city where I grew up. I want you to meet my family." "What if they don't approve of me?" "Then they'll have to deal with it. I choose you, I choose us." Sitting in his apartment now, watching Lyra sleep on his couch, felt the pain of those memories like a knife. He had believed her. He had believed they could make it work. He had been so stupid. The war ended. Humanity and the One. They were pushed back to their home systems and contained. Everyone celebrated, and Lyra made plans to travel together. Then the summons came. High Command wanted to speak with him privately. He went, thinking it was some kind of military debriefing. Instead, they told him the truth. 3 days passed. Lyra stayed. She slept on his couch, followed him to work, and waited. She didn't push him anymore, which somehow made it worse. She just existed in his space, a constant reminder of everything he had tried to forget. On the 4th day, someone else appeared at his door. His old friend from the war. She was an engineer now, working on station construction. She took one look at Lyra and her eyes went wide. "Oh no," said, "she found you." "You know about this?" asked. "Everyone from the war knows about you too. We all wondered where you disappeared to." Looked at Lyra. "Your Highness." "Just Lyra," she said. "I gave up most of my titles." His eyebrows shot up. "You what?" "It's complicated." Grabbed his arm and dragged him into the hallway. "We need to talk, now." Outside, with the door closed, turned on him. "You haven't told her." "Told her what?" "Don't play stupid with me. I was there, remember. I know what happened after the war ended. I know what they told you." Looked away. "It's better if she doesn't know." "Better? She crossed 3 galaxies to find you. She's been sitting in your apartment for days waiting for an explanation. How is lying to her better?" "If I tell her the truth, it will only hurt her more." "She's already hurt. At least if you tell her the truth, she'll understand. Right now, she thinks you just stopped loving her. Is that really better?" Leaned against the wall. "I don't know what to do." His expression softened. "Tell her the truth. She deserves that much. And if you don't, I will. She needs to know what you sacrificed." Don't. Tell her today or I tell her tomorrow. Your choice. Walked away, leaving him standing alone in the hallway. When went back inside, Lyra was watching him. What was that about? He sat down across from her. His hands were shaking. I'll tell you everything, but you have to promise me you'll listen to all of it before you react. Lyra straightened. I promise. He took a deep breath. After the war ended, I got a summons from High Command. They wanted to meet with me privately. I thought it was just a debriefing. I was wrong. What did they want? They told me that my relationship with you was a problem. They said that the people would never accept a human as part of the royal family, that it would cause political instability during a time when the empire needed to rebuild. Lyra's face went pale. They said that. There's more. They brought your father to speak with me, the emperor himself. My father, Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. He was kinder about it. He didn't threaten me or order me away. He just talked to me, one person to another. He told me that you had a duty to your people, that you needed to marry someone from the noble houses to secure political alliances. The war had weakened the empire, and they needed those alliances to rebuild. His throat felt tight, but he forced himself to continue. He told me that you would never abandon me, that if I stayed, you would fight for us. You would refuse every arranged marriage and cause a crisis. Your people would blame you for putting personal desires above duty. Some would blame me for corrupting you. The empire could fracture. Lyra was staring at him with wide eyes. Then your father gave me a choice, said. I could stay and watch you be torn apart between love and duty. I could watch as you were forced to choose between me and your people, knowing that either choice would destroy you. Or I could leave quietly and let you move on. Let you do what needed to be done for your empire without the complication of me. So you left, Lyra said, her voice hollow. I thought I was protecting you. I thought if I disappeared, you would be angry at me, maybe hate me, but you would eventually move on. You would marry someone appropriate and be happy. You would fulfill your duty without having to make an impossible choice. You decided my future for me, Lyra said. Yes. You didn't even ask me what I wanted. I knew what you wanted. You wanted both, but you couldn't have both. Someone had to make the hard choice, and I decided it should be me instead of you. Lyra stood up. She walked to the window, her back to him. The silence stretched on forever. Do you know what I did after you left? She finally asked. No. I waited for you. I sent messages to every contact address I had. Nothing. I asked everyone from the fleet if they knew where you went. No one would tell me. Some of them knew, I'm sure, but they stayed quiet. After 3 months, I realized you weren't coming back. She turned to face him. My father tried to arrange marriages, 5 different proposals from noble houses. I refused them all. He kept pushing. I kept refusing. Finally, he asked me why. I told him I was in love with a human who abandoned me, and until I understood why, I couldn't move forward. His chest hurt. Lyra. Let me finish. My father looked uncomfortable. He asked if I meant you. I said yes. He told me I needed to forget you and do my duty. I told him I couldn't. Lyra's voice was steady, but her eyes were bright with unshed tears. So I made a choice. I removed myself from the direct line of succession. I named my younger brother as heir instead of me. I gave up my position in the royal family. What? I kept my title because they couldn't take that away, but I gave up all actual power. I'm no longer going to be empress. We'll take that role. It caused a huge scandal, of course, but I didn't care. I was done letting other people control my life. Felt like the floor had dropped out from under him. You gave up everything. I gave up a future I never wanted. Then I spent 2 years tracking you down. Do you know how hard it was? You changed your name, your identification, everything. You hid yourself very well, but I found you anyway. She walked closer to him. So here's what I need you to understand. You thought you were protecting me by making my choices for me. You thought sacrificing yourself was noble, but you were wrong. You didn't protect me. You hurt me. You made me think that the person I loved didn't love me back, that I wasn't worth fighting for. I did love you. I do love you. Then you should have trusted me to make my own choices, even if those choices were difficult, even if they cost me something. You should have let me decide what I wanted to give up and what I wanted to keep. His vision blurred with tears. I'm sorry, I thought I was doing the right thing. I know you did, that's the worst part. You hurt me because you loved me. You destroyed us because you were trying to save me. Lyra sat down next to him. My father was wrong. The High Command was wrong. They thought I would just accept their plans for my life, but I'm not that person. I never was. I didn't know you would give up your succession. You should have known I would fight for us. I'm a soldier, I don't retreat, I don't surrender, I fight for what I want, and I wanted you. The word wanted, past tense, hit him like a punch. Do you still want me, or is it too late? Lyra looked at him for a long moment. I don't know, I'm still angry, I'm still hurt. You stole 5 years from us. 5 years we could have spent together building a life. You can't just apologize and fix that. I know. But I also know that you did it because you loved me. In a stupid, misguided, frustrating way, you were trying to protect me. I understand that now. So what happens now? I don't know, Lyra admitted. I spent 2 years imagining this conversation. I thought I would yell at you or cry or demand you explain yourself. Now that I know the truth, I just feel tired. They sat in silence. Outside, the city continued its endless noise. Inside, 2 people who loved each other tried to figure out if love was enough to fix what had been broken. I never stopped loving you, said quietly. Every single day, I thought about you. I wondered if you were happy, if you had moved on, if you ever thought about me. I thought about you constantly. It was torture. I'm so sorry. Lyra leaned her head on his shoulder. It was the first time she had touched him since she arrived. I know you are. I just wish you had talked to me first. We could have figured it out together. I was a coward. No, you were scared. There's a difference. She lifted her head to look at him. But if we're going to try again, and I'm not saying we are, you have to promise me something. Anything. No more running. No more making decisions for me. If we have problems, we face them together. Even if it's hard, even if it hurts, we talk about it. I promise. I'm still angry with you. You have every right to be. And I'm not ready to forgive you completely. It's going to take time. I'll wait as long as you need. Lyra smiled just a little. It was the first real smile he had seen from her since she arrived. You're going to have to work for it. You broke my heart. That's not something that heals overnight. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you if you let me. Before Lyra could respond, an alarm started blaring outside. Emergency sirens filled the city, jumped up and turned on the news. His blood went cold. On the screen was a ship, not just any ship, a vessel, and there were more appearing on the scanners. The news kept getting worse. 6 scout ships had appeared in Earth's outer orbit. They weren't attacking yet, but their weapons were active and their shields were up. The reporter's voice was shaking as she spoke. Earth defense is scrambling all available ships. Citizens are advised to move to emergency shelters immediately. Lyra's face had gone white. They found me. What? Though they're here for me. She stood up, her hands clenched into fists. During the war, I led the campaign that destroyed 3 of their hive worlds. They've wanted revenge ever since. They must have tracked me here. His mind was racing. Earth's defense fleet isn't ready for this. We've had peace for 5 years. Most of our warships are patrol vessels. They can't handle technology. I know. Lyra looked at him, her silver eyes hard. I need to leave. If I take a ship and draw them away from Earth. No, grabbed her arm. That's exactly what they want. They'll destroy you the moment you're in space alone. Better me than millions of humans. There has to be another way. His communicator buzzed. It was, "Tell me you're watching the news." "I'm watching. I'm at the military depot. They're pulling out every old warship they can find. It's chaos here. They need experienced pilots." Paused. "They need people who fought the before." Looked at Lyra. She was watching him, and he could see she was thinking the same thing he was. "I'm coming," he said. "Get me a ship." "Already done. I figured you'd say that. And bring the princess. We're going to need her too." They moved fast. Grabbed his old military jacket from the closet, the one he hadn't worn in 5 years. Lyra called someone on her own communicator, speaking rapid. By the time they reached the depot, a small crowd had gathered. Met them at the entrance. "I called everyone I could from the old fleet. We've got about 30 people who fought in the war. It's not much, but it's better than nothing." Recognized some of the faces. Older now, some with gray hair, but still with that look in their eyes. The look of people who had survived impossible things. "What's our situation?" he asked. "Bad. Earth defense engaged the 10 minutes ago. They lost 3 ships already. They aren't trying to destroy the planet. They're scanning for something, or someone." "Me," Lyra said. "They want me." Everyone turned to look at her. An older man stepped forward. "Commander, retired. I remember you, Your Highness. You led us through hell at the Battle of Station." "I remember you too, Commander." Lyra straightened her shoulders. "And I'm sorry the followed me here. This is my fault." "Doesn't matter whose fault it is," said. "What matters is stopping them. You got a plan." Lyra looked at. "We need a ship that can handle their weapons, something fast and heavily armed." "We have one," said. "The Horizon. It's a retrofit of an old warship. We've been using it for testing new systems. It's not pretty, but it works." "Can it fight?" asked. "It has more firepower than anything else in the depot, but it needs a crew." "Then let's get one," turned to the assembled veterans. "I know you all retired. I know you put the war behind you, but Earth needs us. And if we don't stop these ships now, a lot of people are going to die. I'm going up there. Anyone who wants to join me, I'd be honored to have you." Every single person raised their hand. They moved fast. The Horizon was old but functional, had kept it maintained well. Within 30 minutes, they had a crew of 35 people, a working ship, and a plan that was probably going to get them all killed. Took the pilot seat. Lyra sat next to him in the tactical position. It felt exactly like the war, like no time had passed at all. Their hands moved over the controls in perfect synchronization, 2 people who had learned to work together so well they didn't need to speak. "All systems green," reported from engineering. "We're ready when you are." "Then let's go save the world," said, and launched the ship into space. The vessels were massive. Each one was twice the size of the Horizon. Their black hulls absorbed light, making them look like holes in space. Earth defense ships were still fighting, but they were outmatched. Watched 2 more human vessels explode as he approached. "They're scanning the planet," Lyra said, watching her display. "Looking for my biosignature. Once they find it, they'll level the city," finished, "so we don't let them finish scanning." He opened a channel to all Earth defense ships. "This is Captain of the Horizon. I'm taking tactical command. All ships, fall back to defensive positions around the planet. We're going to draw their attention." "Captain, you can't take on 6 ships alone." "I'm not alone, and they're not here for Earth. They're here for someone on my ship, so I'm going to give them what they want. Horizon out." He closed the channel. Lyra was looking at him. "You have a plan." "The same kind of plan I always have. The stupid kind that shouldn't work." She smiled. "Those are my favorite." Aimed the Horizon straight at the nearest vessel and accelerated to full speed. The crew braced for impact. At the last second, he spun the ship and fired all weapons directly into the ship's sensor array. The explosion was brilliant. "One down, sensors destroyed," Lyra reported. "They can't scan anymore, but they're very, very angry." All 6 ships turned toward them, their weapons powered up. "All power to shields," ordered, "and everyone hold on, this is going to get rough." What followed was the most intense battle any of them had fought since the war. The ships were faster and stronger, but the horizon was more maneuverable. Flew like a man possessed, dodging weapons fire that should have hit them, making turns that should have torn the ship apart. The crew worked perfectly together, kept the engines running past their limits, coordinated weapons fire. Others managed shields, sensors, and communications, and Lyra called out targets and threats, her tactical mind processing the chaos into clear information. They fought like they had never stopped fighting. Every lesson from the war came back instantly. The humans brought their creativity and refusal to give up. Lyra brought her experience and strategic brilliance. Together, they became something greater than the sum of their parts. Incoming from port side, Lyra called out. Rolled the ship. Weapons fire past where they had been a second before. Return fire full spread, he ordered. The horizon's weapons lit up the darkness. One ship lost its shields. They're trying to surround us, warned. Let them, grinned. Can you give me a full power burst to the engines? For about 10 seconds, then we'll burn out. 10 seconds is all I need. He waited until the ships had them nearly surrounded. Then he called for the power burst and shot straight up, perpendicular to the battle plane. The ships, trying to converge on where they had been, crashed into each other instead. 2 exploded. Another was badly damaged. Humans, Lyra said, shaking her head but smiling. You're all completely insane. That's why you love us, replied. 3 ships left, but the horizon was damaged too. Hull breaches on 2 decks, shields at 30%, weapons overheating. We can't keep this up much longer, warned. We don't have to, Lyra said. Look. Earth defense was regrouping. They had seen what the horizon did and learned from it. Now they were attacking in coordinated strikes, using the same crazy tactics the humans had used in the war. Together, the combined fleet focused on the remaining ships. It took another 20 minutes of hard fighting, but eventually the last vessel exploded. The battle was over. The horizon limped back toward Earth. The crew was exhausted but alive, and Lyra sat in their seats, hands still on the controls, not quite believing they had survived. Just like old times, Lyra said softly. Yeah. I forgot how well we worked together. I didn't forget, I just tried to. She reached over and took his hand. Thank you for not running this time. Before he could respond, something hit the ship. A last desperate shot from a dying vessel they hadn't seen. The explosion threw everyone forward. His head hit the console. Pain exploded through him. He heard Lyra screaming his name. Then everything went dark, woke up in a white room. Everything hurt. He tried to move and immediately regretted it. Don't move, a familiar voice said. You have 3 broken ribs, a concussion, and severe burns on your left arm. He turned his head slowly. Lyra sat in a chair next to his bed. She looked terrible. Her eyes were red, her hair was messy, and she was wearing the same clothes from the battle. How long have I been here? 2 days, you've been unconscious the whole time. Her voice was rough. The doctor said you would be fine, but I needed to see you wake up. Have you been here the whole time? Yes. Lyra, you need to rest. I'll rest when I'm sure you're okay. She reached out and took his hand carefully. You scared me. When that weapon hit us, I thought, her voice broke. I thought I lost you again. I'm okay, I'm right here. You threw yourself in front of me. During the explosion, you shielded me with your body. He didn't remember that. Instinct, I guess. Stupid, heroic instinct. But she was smiling through her tears. You could have died. So could you, that's why I did it. A doctor came in and examined him. She said he was very lucky and would need to stay for a few more days. After she left, Lyra helped him sit up carefully. Through the window, he could see New Seoul outside. Normal life continuing. People going about their day, probably not realizing how close they had come to disaster. "What happened after I passed out?" he asked. "We made it back to Earth safely. The threat is over. Earth Defense recovered some of their technology from the wrecks, and her team are already studying it." Lyra paused. "And the news has been covering the battle nonstop. Everyone knows now. About us." "About us?" "About you and me. About our history together. About how an alien princess and a human pilot fought together during the war and then lost each other. The media loves it. They're calling us heroes." Groaned, "I hate media attention." "Too late, you're famous now, we both are." Lyra's expression turned serious. "My father contacted me." His heart sank. "What did he say?" "He apologized. He said he was wrong to force us apart. That watching us fight together reminded him that sometimes love is worth more than politics." She squeezed his hand. "He wants to meet you properly. No more secret conversations. No more pressure. Just a father meeting the person his daughter loves." "Do you still love me?" The question came out before he could stop it. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. "Yes, I'm still angry. I'm still hurt. We lost 5 years because of a decision you made without me. That's not something I can just forget." "I understand. But watching you in that battle, seeing you work with me like no time had passed at all, it reminded me why I fell in love with you. You're brave and stupid and you never give up. You try impossible things because you don't know they're impossible. That's very human, and I love that about you." "I love you too. I never stopped." "I know, that's the only reason I'm giving us another chance." She leaned forward carefully, mindful of his injuries. "But things have to be different this time. No more secrets, no more running. If we do this, we do it together, all of it, the good and the bad." "I promise." "And if you ever make a major decision about our future without talking to me first, I will personally throw you into space." He laughed, then winced because it hurt. "Deal." She kissed him gently. It felt like coming home. Over the next few weeks, as recovered, everything changed. The battle had made both of them famous across human space and the Empire. News channels played footage of the fight constantly. People called them heroes, symbols of human cooperation, proof that different species could work together. Hated the attention, but Lyra handled it gracefully. She gave interviews, answered questions, and slowly shaped the narrative. She talked about the war, about what humanity had contributed, about how humans had proven themselves equal to any species in the galaxy. Public opinion shifted. Humans had always been seen as the newcomers, the primitives who got lucky. But the battle showed what humans could do, how they thought differently, fought differently, refused to accept defeat even when logic said they should. The galaxy started seeing humanity in a new light. The Empire changed too. Lyra's father made a public statement saying that his daughter should be free to marry whom she chose, that traditions needed to evolve with the times. Not everyone agreed, but enough did. The noble houses that had wanted to marry Lyra suddenly backed off. No one wanted to compete with the human hero who had fought beside her. "Your father really came around," said one day as they walked through a park. He was mostly healed now, just a little stiff. He didn't have much choice. Public opinion forced his hand. Everyone loves our story now. If he tried to separate us again, it would look terrible. Lyra smiled. But I think he genuinely changed his mind too. He saw us fight together. He saw what we could do as a team. "So what happens now? Do you go back to, do I come with you?" "Actually, I have a different idea." Lyra stopped walking and turned to face him. "Both our governments have contacted me. They want us to serve as ambassadors, representatives of human cooperation. We would travel between both worlds, help strengthen the alliance, show that our species can work together." Ambassadors. It would mean giving up cargo piloting, and a lot of public appearances, and dealing with politics. She watched his face carefully. "I know you hate that stuff, so if you don't want to do it, we'll find another way." Thought about it. A few months ago, he would have said no immediately. He had wanted nothing more than to hide from the galaxy and live quietly. But that was when he was running from his past. Now, with Lyra by his side, everything was different. "Will we be together?" he asked. "Always." "Will we work as a team?" "As equals." "Then yes, let's do it." Lyra's smile was brighter than any star. "Really?" "Really? I'm done running. I'm done hiding. If we're going to do this, let's do it right. Let's show the galaxy what humans can accomplish together." She kissed him right there in the middle of the park. People walking by stopped and stared, but neither of them cared. 2 months later, they stood on the landing platform of a diplomatic ship. Their belongings were already loaded, and several other friends from the battle had come to see them off. "Take care of each other," said, hugging them both. "And don't get into any more space battles. My heart can't take it." "No promises," said. "I figured," she stepped back. "But seriously, you two are good together. Don't mess it up again." "I won't," promised. "Not this time." They boarded the ship. As it lifted off, stood at the window and watched Earth shrink below them. 5 years ago, he had left everything behind. Now he was leaving again, but this time was different. This time, he wasn't running away. He was running toward something, toward a future he and Lyra would build together. Lyra came to stand beside him, nervous. "Terrified? I'm terrible at politics." "You'll learn, and I'll be there to help you." "What if I mess up? What if I embarrass both our species?" "Then we'll figure it out together. That's what partners do." She took his hand. "No more facing things alone. We're a team now." The ship jumped to hyperspace. Stars stretched into lines of light around them. They were heading toward First, where would meet Lyra's family properly and begin his role as ambassador. It should have been terrifying. Instead, it felt right. "I'm glad you found me," said quietly. "Even though I tried to hide, even though I pushed you away, I'm glad you didn't give up." "I told you I was a fighter." Lyra rested her head on his shoulder. "I fight for what I want, and I wanted you." "Do you regret anything? Giving up your succession, chasing me across the galaxy?" "No, I made my choice and I'd make it again." She looked up at him. "Do you regret leaving me, even though you thought you were protecting me?" "Every single day. It was the worst mistake of my life." "Good, remember that feeling, because if you ever try to make decisions for me again, you'll throw me into space, I remember." She smiled. "I'm glad we understand each other." They stood together as the ship carried them toward their new future. Two people from different worlds who had found each other in war, lost each other in peace, and found each other again when it mattered most. They didn't know what challenges waited for them. Politics would be complicated. There would be people who opposed their relationship. Cultural differences would cause problems. Nothing would be easy. But they would face it together. That was the promise they made to each other. Not to avoid the hard things, but to tackle them as a team. To trust each other with the truth, even when it hurt. To choose each other every day, not just once. "Hey, Lyra." "Yes." "You asked me once why I left you. I gave you the reason, but I never told you the real truth behind it all." She pulled back to look at him. "What truth?" "I left because I loved you so much it scared me. I couldn't imagine my life without you, and that made me vulnerable. I thought if I left first, if I made the choice to go, it would hurt less than watching you eventually leave me. I was a coward." "You were scared," Lyra corrected gently. "There's a difference." "Maybe, but I'm not scared anymore. Or I am, but I'm not letting fear control me. Whatever comes next, whatever problems we face, I'm not running. You're stuck with me now." "Promise." "I promise, never again." "Good," Lyra kissed him softly. "Because I traveled across 3 galaxies to find you. I'm not letting you go ever again." They held each other as the ship carried them toward their new roles as ambassadors, toward a future they would build together. Behind them was pain and separation, and 5 years of regret. Ahead was uncertainty and challenge and hard work. But they had each other, and in the end, that was all that mattered. A human and an alien, two people who proved that love could cross any distance, survive any separation, and overcome any obstacle. Two people who showed the galaxy that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose love, even when everything else says it's impossible. The stars streaked past the window, endless and beautiful. And somewhere in that vast galaxy, two hearts beat as one, ready to face whatever came next. Together,